I'll give one more minute. I hope you can see my screen. Okay. Thank you, Lavanya. So, last class, one second, let me start the recording. So we started with requirements engineering process. Okay, in this we said we have so many activities which we do, and we started with requirements elicitation and analysis. Fine. So in this requirements engineering processes, what we do is first thing is we do requirements discovery. Okay. After requirements discovery, what we do is we do classification and organization. Then we do something known as prioritization and negotiation. And then we have requirement specification. So the requirements engineering process involves these activities. Fine. So we have requirements. One second. Okay, we have this requirements discovery, then classification and organization, prioritization and negotiation, and requirement specification. So we come here. So what is this requirement specification? I'm sorry, requirements discovery. Here we are interacting with the stakeholders to discover their requirements. Ma'am, is it so much important? Yes, you will see more about how these requirements are discovered. See, your success of your software product depends upon this requirements engineering process only. Why, ma'am, if you ask me? See, if you don't know properly what you have to do, then your product will never be properly built upon. It is like let's say we have a plan of a software, we come up with a plan. Most of the times example I give you is a building, right? So if the plan is not proper, will the structure be okay? No, right? Even though it is successfully completed what you expected, it will not be there. So requirements engineering process is one of the important and one of the important thing within software engineering. So first thing is we will discover the requirements. Here what we do is we interact with the stakeholders. Stakeholders means people who are involved with the product development. So we check with them or we interact with them to get to know what we have to come up with. Not only with the stakeholders, we also know the domain requirements. You will get to know what is domain requirements. Okay, so first thing is we have to know what we want to do. Then is classification and organization. We group related requirements, we organize them. See, if it is a very small product, then the requirements will be lesser. But if it is a very complex thing where there are hundreds of requirements, we need to group them and we need to organize them. So that is done within the second step. The third step is prioritization and negotiation. I think this I've already told. In that, out of 100, excuse me, out of 100 there may be 50 of them which is very important, or 50 of them is something which you want to do at first. See, almost all tasks you cannot do 100 of them together. Then which one will you do first? Then in order to find out which one you want to do first, you will prioritize. Okay, so this is done like prioritizing is when there are multiple requirements, we prioritize them. Which is more important to the customer? Not only important, which one is less dependent, which is done independently. All that is done first. So that is known as prioritization. Then is negotiation. Negotiation means when there are multiple requirements, we negotiate like which one has to be done or what has to be done first and all that. So that is known as negotiation. When we do this, there may be something conflicts, then we resolve those conflicts. Last one is specification. Now once we know what it is, what has to be done, we have classified it, we have prioritized it, we document it. Why we need to document? Because at the end something may change or something might someone may say this is not agreed. Then we can say that this is what was agreed in the document. Not only that, some people may leave and go the organization. Now I have come, people will be work for one, or if it is a long term project, 2 or 3 year project, I started the requirements in the first year 6 months. After 2 years, people who come up with the requirements have left the organization. Then who will be there to see whether what has happened? So that is the reason documentation is required and very important. And that is what I said. Whenever we have documented, this document is signed by all the stakeholders. All the stakeholders in the sense the customers, the company, the end users, everyone. Fine. So we go to the next thing. Problem is, yes. What is the problem with this? Stakeholders don't know what they really want. Okay. Now, see, I am working. Let's say I this is some company, some, let's say for example, a real time example would be like uh, what can I say? Let's take the building architecture plan example itself. I'm coming up with a building. Now, when you go to the architect, he will he will ask you so many questions. Sometimes yourself, you are only not clear what you want, right? So that is one problem. When you are not clear, when the customer is not clear what he wants, and he wants to give up, and the next thing is he expresses requirements in their own terms. That is, see, when as a customer you are working, and you have their own way of telling, but it may not be technically correct. Then different stakeholders may have different requirements or conflicting requirements. Now, the customer, there will be multiple customers, each of them will have their own requirements, and that may lead to conflicts. Like, for example, if I'm coming up with a building plan and I go to the architect, the husband will have one requirement, the wife will have one, the kids will have one requirement, and their things will be conflicting. Yes, the kid says, yes, as a, yeah, as a kid you will say, as a children's of that time, you want very spacious, wherein you have a very big room for yourself, wherein you have uh, what can I say, multimedia room or something like that, wherein you can play games and everything. But your parents will have a different view. They will say, no, no, we have to give one building a portion of that for rent. We want a rent of this. See, one person saying you want a very big room and the other one saying I want to have a rent and so reduce the size of the house. Isn't it conflicting? So that is how different stakeholders will have different requirements which may lead to conflicts. And organizational and political factors may influence. Yes, where you are bringing up and all that. These are also organizational and political factors also will affect the requirements. Now the requirements change. New stakeholders may emerge, and they may add new requirements. So this is some things, some problems which are encountered. Even though there are lots of problems, you agree upon, you negotiate and come up with the requirement set. Next thing, how do I discover requirements? What is this discovery of requirements discovery mean? It means gathering of information about the requirement and the existing system. Okay, what is required? You see the existing system which is happening manually, and based on that you come up with the requirements. And interaction with the stakeholders, here it requires, so in order to come up with the requirements, how do you come up with the requirements? You will interact with the stakeholders, from managers, regulators, and so on. And systems normally have a range of stakeholders. So what do you mean by stakeholders? Stakeholders means people who are working on the system. Okay, people who are working on the system are known as stakeholders. Fine. Any doubts still here? Till the requirements discovery. First of all, I want to know, are you understanding what I am teaching about now? Yes? Fine. Where am I in? I thought I taught you a very big picture. See, those who are not able to follow, again 2 minutes I will tell. Okay, with an example. Are I will tell about stakeholders, sir. I have not completed it. Okay. See, as a software engineer, what we do, we build a product, right? It may be a simple product, it may be a complex product. Ma'am, I don't understand what is product only. Product may be something like, example, a software system for your college website, a software system for banking, or a software for gaming application. So this is a product. So that is what as software engineers we do. How we do? In order to do that, we follow software engineering procedure. Why we follow, ma'am? Simply we don't, can't we follow? No, there are so many drawbacks. One of the important drawback is
And I will not continue with the class. Thank you so much for joining. You can leave. Okay? So, and I want apology from each and everyone who are present in your class. Fine?
one second. Okay, I was here. We are developing software product. It may be software. Ma'am, I will not follow the software engineering. If you don't follow for a complex product, chances of the software failing are more. Because complex things, if you don't plan properly, it will fail. So I need to follow software engineering. So what do I need to follow in software engineering? I need to follow 4 steps. What are their 4 steps? Can someone type? 4 steps I need to follow in order for a product to be success, so that I follow software engineering. What are those 4 steps? Come on, type. Anyone can unmute and tell. Yes, no one. Come on. Requirements. Next, design and development. Third one is testing. Fourth one is evolution. Fine. This is what I taught you in the first class. Yes, good. Thank you. Now, ma'am, you are telling this 4 steps from first class. You're telling the same thing, no, ma'am. Till the end, I complete my portions, I'll be telling the same thing. Now, in the first module, what you are learning is the requirements only. Ma'am, you said first step is requirements. How do I go ahead with this requirements? That is what you are learning in this requirement specification or requirement engineering process. So, ma'am, in requirements, what do I have? I have requirements elicitation and analysis. Then I have requirements, what validation, evolution, and requirements. Yeah, after requirements elicitation, I had requirements specification, then validation, and then evolution. Now what am I learning? In that I am learning requirement elicitation and analysis. So, in analysis and requirement elicitation and analysis, what am I learning? I am learning requirements discovery. Did are you getting my point? Where am I going? From the outer layer, you are just peeling like the skin of an onion. The whole thing is software engineering. Layer by layer, we are going. So, now did you get those who were lost in this process?
What shall I do? You guys tell me.
Okay, fine. Did I confuse you, or did I get you back into what? This was for others who are not able to understand where we are in, where do we stand in, ma'am. Every day you put slides and go ahead. So that is the reason I wanted to get it. See, if it was in the class, I could have seen your faces and made out where are you. But now I am not able to get it. So please let me know if there are any issues. So now, like all your friends have typed, we are in this first module, we are in this requirements. And in this requirements, we are in requirements discovery. That is gathering of the requirements for a particular product. How do I gather the requirements? Through stakeholders. Ma'am, who are these stakeholders? Stakeholders can be any people who is working with that product. Ma'am, who is the stakeholder? Ma'am, for everything you give example, building example, no. So in this building example, architect, who is the stakeholder? architect, the person who is constructing the building, it may be the family, the entire family, the children, husband, wife, whoever are involved, whoever is going to stay with the family in that house, all of them, the architect, now the mason or someone who is actually constructing, someone who is investing the money, all of them will become the stakeholders. So the people who are involved with the building of that product are known as stakeholders. Now, in your textbook, wherever I gave building example, ma'am, in the textbook, will they give building example? No. Wherever examples are required in your textbook, they will give the three cases, use cases which we studied. What are the three use cases? One was the insulin thing. Yes, do you remember administering of insulin for a patient, monitoring his health? The second one is, yes, thank you, Kavya, insulin pump control system. The second case is a mental health care system. The mental health care system, yes, do you remember? There is a server and people log in from different places. Yes, yeah. The third one is weather control. So here they, to give you an example of the stakeholders, they have the mental health care system. Okay, patient mental state system. Okay, what are the stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders? First and the important stakeholder there is patient, right? Who visits the doctor for some medical help. Then the doctors who assess and train the patients or who look after the patient. Then there are the nurse. Then there are, yes, please understand the difference. The nurse is someone who works help with the doctor. Medical receptionist one who is like, yeah, you. I hope you all know the receptionist who takes the appointments and everything. Then there is IT staff. IT staff are those who install the system, who manage the system, who if something goes wrong with the system, okay, they monitor that. They are the IT staff. Ma'am, are these only people stakeholders? Yes, no. There can be multiple stakeholders. You can keep on adding the management system of the hospital. Okay, they are also stakeholders. So all these people who are working on that system are known as stakeholders. Ma'am, why are these stakeholders? So because they are all required, all of them have a certain requirement in the system. What is the requirement of the patient? Now he is a main stakeholder, right? For him, there should be an appointment. He should be able to check the system to see when the doctor is available. All that. The doctors, they have to see whatever the treatment given to different patient who they are treating today. Nurse, they have to get all the medical history before they coordinate with the doctor. Medical receptionist, they have to get to know patient details, what is his name, everything. IT staff, yes, to install the system, to maintain it, what are the things they do require, all of them. Did you understand what do you mean by the stakeholders? Yes. So these are some of the stakeholders within the patient healthcare monitoring system. All these stakeholders give the requirements for the system. If I miss the requirements of the patient, will the system be complete? No. So we have to identify all the stakeholders of the system and get to know the requirements from all the stakeholders. Am I clear? Yes, Pranav, I think. Did you now understand what do you mean by stakeholders? Yeah? See, still there are the manager, healthcare managers, medical staff records, all of them form the stakeholders of the system. Yes, ma'am, I have identified the stakeholders. Next thing is, how do I get to know the requirements from these stakeholders? Ma'am, what is there? I will talk with them and I will get the requirements. See, the way the patient you interact with the patient is different from the way you interact with the IT staff, right? The IT staff will give you technical requirements. The patient will give you a requirements in his own terms. Do you agree or not? Each stakeholder has his own way of telling his requirements. I will switch over to my example in the building plan. Now, if the architect has to collect the requirements, means the owner of the house, the husband, will have his own. Technically, he will say yes, 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 yes. The house should be this, or see the whatever the capacity of the house, what and all, where the pillars should be, like that. He will say. If you ask the wife who is staying, she will give some requirements, something based on her understanding. Maybe not technical. No, this is the room should be here, or this the vastu thing, or something like that. So the way in which she will give requirements will be different from the way in which the husband or someone who is working actually knows the building environment will tell. Yes, same thing happens in different software product. Each stakeholder will have its own way of telling the requirements. So collecting these requirements is very important. So how can I collect requirements? There are different ways of collecting requirements. One way is through interviewing the stakeholders. Okay, you can interview them, and in interview also you have different ways of interviewing. Then you have something known as scenarios. Okay, in scenarios, there is a way of taking the requirements discovery. Then you have something known as ethnography. Then you have something known as use cases. So you can discover the requirements from the users through number of ways. And one way is interviewing. Interview can be formal or informal, or it can be closed or open interviews. Very important question. People keep on asking you in the uh, examination. So what do I mean by formal or informal? Yeah, informal means you set up a meeting request, you call them, and you just have a questions for each of them, and you just question each of them, take the answer, you record them. That is known as formal. Informal means it may be simply you go for a lunch, or maybe something like you have a session with them, you talk with them, generally you discuss, and you just note down those points or jot those points. These are known as informal. Okay, it may be other type of interview is closed interview. Closed interview means it is you have come up with predefined list of questions. Okay, predefined list of questions means yeah, let's say for example today I am doing class. I It is a closed interview and formal one. Why? Because I have a time, I have started from so and so, I know who are the interviewers, I have a set of slides which I want to present. I go upon this only, I don't deviate from that. Okay, this is closed and formal. If it is open interview, I just start simply discussing about software engineering, and based on your questions and based on my analogy, I can go to any points, I can discuss anything. That is open. You don't have any predetermined things. Okay, so that is open interview. See, both of them have their pros and cons. If it is closed, you will continue with only your set of questions. Okay, something you have not covered may not come into picture here at all. That is the cons of it. Okay, but you will cover all of that. That is the pros. In open interview, the pros may be something you was not in your mind. While discussing with your client or a stakeholder, you will get to know that. That is the pro. Cons it, you may deviate from something what was not required. It may go out of your discussion room, what is required. Fine. So both have their pros and cons, but you should be within your limits. So in order to be effective, you should be open-minded, even though it is closed interview. If the stakeholder tries to add something, or if he wants to put some other points, you should be willing to listen. Okay, then you should prompt the interview to get into discussions, like Springboard question, requirement proposal, or by working them on a prototype. If you want to do, you just try to question them and try to get as good things as you want. So this is one way of getting the requirements from the user, that is through interviews. Okay, so most of the times we don't say interviews will be like this only. Okay, you should involve open only or closed only, formal or informal. It can be mix of closed and open-ended interviews. It is good for getting the overall understanding. You just talk with them. Okay, you will have a good interviews. Do know are not good for understanding domain requirements. See, basically you get the overall knowledge. Okay, not something technicality is not discovered in interviews. For discovering the technicalities, you have a different way of getting the gathering the requirements there. I hope these days you would have seen, right? Interviews will not be like you go in a suit and you attend. There are different ways of doing to get to know the people and all when they do the interviews in a company. Similarly, to get to know the requirements, these days they do what and all things. Okay, so this is about one way of gathering requirements, that is through interviews. The next you have one way of the other way of gathering the requirements is through scenarios. Now, just think over interviews, then I will start with scenarios. If you have any doubts with interviews, you can let me know. Any doubts, you can let me know now. Are you able to get through what I am teaching? At least 60 to 75% of it, what I am teaching. The rest, I will tell you. You have to go through it, read it, and try to put an analogy. It is like a story. I mean, simply you just can't fit in something there. Yeah, someone respond. Closed interview and formal. No, sir, Ankit, it cannot be the same. Somewhat each of them have their own points, okay? They are related. Actually, you can't distinguish something like that. A clear distinction between them. They are, I can say, they are overlapping, Ankit. There are certain things they have in common. Okay. Shall I go to the next topic? Scenarios, way of collecting requirements. Fine. What are these way of scenarios? Ma'am, in interview only I will collect all the requirements. No, why you want to go to another? See, most of the times one way of collecting requirements will be multi-purpose. And for each type of project or each type of stakeholders, there are different ways of collecting requirements. So we are going through different ways. And when you are developing, ma'am, so when I'm developing the product, should I go to all the four types and collect the requirements? No. For your project, which is the best way to collect requirements, you will analyze, and maybe one or two types you will go, techniques you will use and collect requirements. Maybe you are good at interviewing process, you will go to that process. Maybe you are good at scenarios, you will go to scenarios. Maybe someone is good at use cases, so they will use use cases. Maybe a single one or combination of two, or maybe all the four types or whatever you're learning, you will incorporate all of them and collect requirements. So it depends upon the product what you are developing and the type of person you are or the type of stakeholders you have. Fine. But what we are learning here is what are the different ways of collecting the requirements. So other way is scenario. In scenario, it is easier to relate to real life examples. Ma'am, it is, you think interview is too formal. Fine, you don't want to do interviewing procedure. You are something like artistic person. So I will go to a way of collecting requirements through scenarios. Here what we do is we take real time examples of how the system can be used. So in this, maybe you will say, or what does this include is you will come up with a situation. You will explain the starting, a description of what the system and the users expect from that scenario. Okay, and you will have a normal flow of events from there, noting down each of them. Fine, and then you describe what goes wrong and what goes fine. That is positive cases and negative cases. And the information about the other activities that is concurrent to this you also collect. And then you finish the description of that state. Ma'am, I did not get it. I'll give you an example. Okay, housing plan only. Ma'am, collecting the requirements from the person who is building, it is becoming talking with them and getting is not. You don't feel that it is. You want to do something different, so you will ask them. Okay, as soon as you enter the house, what do you want to see? Whether a gate, okay, fine. You want to have a car shed or do you want to have a garden? Or, yes, I want to have a garden. Fine. Then, after the garden, fine, you want to go to have a house there. You want to have in the first floor, or you want to have a big hall, or do you have to have a two rooms? You just go on with alternatives. You start with that and how it should go to. See, I started with a gate and a garden, and automatically it will go to all the next few things. Yes, that way of getting the requirements is known as a scenario. Did I do justice? Did you understand what I mean? Yes, I start with that. Fine, if you have a garden, then you have a car parking or something. Where do you want to have a alternative? That is the alternative path. Yes, you have a main door. Fine, you have a big hall. Then you want to have a kitchen. Yes, I want to have a kitchen immediately so that I can see someone is coming or going out, something like that. You keep on prompting and asking like a story, and when you get finish that story, don't you have think you will have almost all set of one set of requirements ready? Yes, that way of getting the requirements from the user is known as one scenarios. Am I clear? Yes or no? It starts from the situation, it takes a sets of events, and you will say, no, no, someone while going through that events, you prompt and you try to add. If the stakeholder says it is wrong, yes, you come out of it. What is right, you get it. And along with that, what are the concurrent events, you get that, and you finish it. So this is known as scenarios. By doing this, yes, you can start with some events, you can finish it. Some things we are not started, again you can take the starting situation and you can go to the set of flow of events. Like that you can do and you get all the requirements from the user. Now, ma'am, every time I can do this? See, if you are not a person who is artistic or you are not into like storytelling, then scenarios is not a very good way of getting requirements. For if you are like that kind of a person, interview is very good way of getting requirements. So it depends upon who you are and what your stakeholders are. Based on that, you will use these techniques to gather requirements. Did I make it clear? Okay. For that, you have in your textbook for scenarios in patient healthcare system how a scenario for collecting medical history in patient healthcare system is given. I want all of you to go through it, and people who have logged in now, my slides is, I hope all of my slides is visible for you all. Visible or not visible? Visible? Okay, thank you. Can you read this and can you explain? Anyone, I have 81 people online now. I will ask anyone to read it. It is nothing but a story. There is nothing technical, there is nothing regarding software engineering. It is about a story about the patient healthcare system which they have explained. I want you to go through it, and at least in 3 4 lines someone has to explain it to me. If your friends are outside, gone somewhere, call them in your group, ask them, ma'am has given some problem, you have to come now. Fine? Will you do that? Can you read it? Once you are done with this slide, let me know. There is a next slide which explains this only. Okay. So this and the next one are the set of activities. So I want you to go through this, and then I will ask. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I can give you 5 minutes for this slide, 5 minutes for the other slide. Once you are done, anyone can say, ma'am, please go to the next slide. I'll go to the next slide. Okay. It's okay, right? I think I've explained you so much. Okay. So someone can put in the chat box once you are done with this slide. I'll go to the next slide. Okay, guys, can I move to the next slide? Before going to the next slide, anyone had doubt in this? Respond, no? See, when I have thought you all, I'm almost coming to 1 hour I have spoken. At least I require that much. Was there anything difficult in this to understand? All of you have understood. Okay. I'll go to the next slide. So this is the last. We said there is a start, a set of events, then we see what can go wrong, the other activities, and what is the system state on completion. You might think, ma'am, you might think maybe there are other situations. Yes, I certainly agree. This is like the author's way of interpreting this. If you are coming up with the same case, you may add so many things which can go wrong, which can come right. What is the completion? Yes, it is left to the discretion of the person who is collecting or writing the scenario. Okay, but this is a example. That's it. It's not that the data within this, it should be like this only. No. What we are trying to tell is these are the headings which we have initial assumption, the carry of events, what can go wrong, other activities, and the state of completion. It should have. I mean, the stakeholder will tell how this has to flow. If a stakeholder has something else, then the requirements will change. Okay. Are you done? You need still more time, or are you done? Uh, Lavanya, see, that is what I said. Your interpretation may be varying. Okay? This is how they are trying to, this is one of the stakeholder as given requirement. What can go wrong? You might change it. What can go wrong? You may enter something else here also. If the record is deleted, ma'am, but is it possible? Let's say, for example, there is a backup. Okay, even the record was deleted, they can get it from a backup place. Did I answer your question, Lavanya? Up Apart from Lavanya, anyone has any doubts? If you have doubts, this is the time to ask. Yes, ma'am, I have doubt. Otherwise, you should be ready to answer the question next when I ask. 75, 79 students. There were 81. No? Now it has become 75, 79. Let's see. Okay, first, any doubts? Anyone has doubts? Put the message now. Or if you do not understand or anything, uh, Ananya, I will tell you this. Okay? I will tell you this. But what you have learned here, if you have any doubts, you can ask. In exam, what kind of question you will get and what you have to write, I will let you know. What is inability, Kavya? Where is that word? Word or okay, the nurse should enter free text according to patients, record the patients to provide information. Huh. It means that some of the patients, see, some of them have their own privacy things. Okay, fine. They don't want to give the information. In such cases, what can go wrong? That is what they are telling. It means that what can we are recording patient's information. If some patient is not willing to give their information, in such cases, if they are leaving blank, then they should tell that if they are not giving, then their treatment may be limited or delayed. Okay, so that can be something which can go wrong in this process. That is how they are trying to handle it. If they are not giving the information, what can happen is the treatment is either delayed or it is limited, and that should be signed and handed to the patient. Yeah, I can add something else also. If I am giving the information, the privacy information is stored, that has to be signed, so that can lead to another requirement, isn't it? Yeah. So that's why I said you can add another requirement here. It can you can write your own cases here. You can't say this is what I will. Fine. No other doubts. Everyone, all the 79 students have understood. Let's ask who? Banupriya understood. Chandan, yes. That is what here it means. Yes. Chandan understood. Okay. What about Banupriya? Lata, Madhusudan. Okay. Madhusudan. Okay. Banupriya is still not there. Fine. She is marked absent. Please return. No. Sahil, Yusuf, Sahil, Yusuf. Okay, Sahil. Thanks. At least I want whether you are listening or not. Okay, Yusuf. Harsha, Ankit. So she left the meeting. Harsha, good. Ankit. Ah, Ankit. Ankita. Okay, fine. Okay. I'll not ask you to read out because everyone's interpretation is the same, will be different, okay? But still, like your friend asked, the important thing is, ma'am, if this question comes in the exam, how will I write? See, first of all, this is a very important question, and chances of coming in the examination are very high. Fine. Requirements gathering as a module. All of you who are sleeping, listen carefully. Requirements engineering, one or two questions will come. And in requirements discovery, either they may ask requirements process complete or they may ask only requirements discovery. If they ask requirements discovery, you will write about interviewing scenarios and next you have something known as use cases and ethnography. All the four you will have to write. See, in software engineering, everything is dependent upon the question about how many marks the question is for. And I will tell you, your marks and pages is what it determines. There is a question which is come on in requirements discovery. There has come a question based on interviewing process. See, if the interviewing process comes for 5 marks, you have to expand it and write so for 2 pages. Imagine requirements discovery only comes for 5 marks. Then, ma'am, in requirements discovery, if it comes for 5 marks, and interviewing also comes for 5 marks, only if I write interviewing process for 5 marks in this part, that is the requirements discovery part, will I get marks? No. For requirements discovery, you have to write all the four things, but the amount of data what you write will be less. Are you able to understand what I am trying to tell? Maybe what you rate for 2 pages, you will cut down for half page in interviewing, half page for scenario, half page for use case, and then ethnograph. And when we have scenario only, if ma'am, you will explain only scenario comes for 8 marks. Okay, in that case, you will write about this first slide. I'm sorry. This you will write, then you have to give an example. Okay, with medical healthcare system, maybe the sentences how you write, the case what you describe may not be the same. Okay, somewhat similar to this, you will explain it. Did you understand? Then what happens? This is a part of the requirements engineering process. In that case, please write these steps. Then rather than describing so much in 2 slides, in just initial um, scenario, okay, just write 2 lines. Other activities it will recommend, or it is do this. Two lines you will finish. Did I answer your question? Who was it who asked? Saif. No. Who was it? Ananya. See, that is why I'm trying to tell you. Please understand these questions. I know requirements engineering process question will come, and in that requirements discovery will come. Okay, but I don't know how much marks it will come, whether it will come full question as it is or it will be a part of that. But requirements will come. Ma'am, then if I remember only little bit of it, can I write the answer? It is the risk what you will be taking. You have to learn for full marks, and if they ask for only little of that part of it, then you have to cut down and you have to write. No, ma'am, I will write everything, then you will not complete your examination paper. This is what tips I am giving you. Same thing in your internals. If I ask requirements discovery for 10 marks, you will have to write in 4 pages all of these four things. If that does not come, I will ask you something like explain requirements engineering process. In requirements engineering, you have all the four phases. In that, discovery is a part of it. Okay, in that case, you will write only 2 pages discovery and the rest of the things you have to explain. Did you understand? So the subject, it is easy, but scoring marks is difficult. You should know where to stop, how much to write, and how much to not write. And that everything depends upon marks. And I will tell you one more thing. One important tip for this is don't forget writing diagrams. Diagrams is very, very important. Even if you don't get time to explain all of this, write a diagram. It will fetch you marks. 80-90% of the marks you will get it in diagrams. 10 or 20% you will get in explanation. If you miss the diagram and write the explanation, you will not get marks. Even though your explanation is 100% correct, you will get only 40% of the marks. Fine. I hope I answered your questions. And even when this question comes in the internals, how to answer that also I have told you. Okay, shall I go ahead? Next, you have something known as use cases. Use cases is a way of the requirements discovery, but here it is a what can I say? It is a scenario based, but it uses diagrams. Now, scenario you saw stories. Now, the same thing, same stories, you can represent them in diagrams. And these diagrams are known as use case diagrams. You have a next module wherein you will learn more about it. Okay, but here you can think about it. It is a graphical model representation of a scenario. What in all the requirements for the system are represented diagrammatically. Here, there is a way of representing these diagrams. And how are these diagrams? Here, in this diagram, the stakeholders are given by these like people. Okay. I hope in the medical healthcare system you knew that nurse is a stakeholder, doctor, manager, receptionist are all stakeholders. So stakeholders are given by this a figure like stick or a person. Okay. Then the ovals are given by the job or the applications or whatever they are required to do. That is given by the oval. Okay. So here, medical receptionist can do two things. What? Register the patient and view personal information. So that are given by oval. So rather than telling in words, we represent them in diagrammatically. Then we have this information is viewed by a manager. So manager is here. Manager can in turn do what and all the job he can do. He can export statistics. He can generate reports. Whatever report he has generated, the doctor can view it. So it is linked. So what and all can the nurse do? They can view the record. They can edit the record. Here they can the nurse cannot set up a consultation, so it is not given. But a doctor can set up a consultation, or you can say, ma'am, medical reception is the one who will set up a consultation. Actual is done by the doctor. Yes, you can do that. But the nurse can set up a consultation or you can say consultation actual is done by the doctor. But the doctor can set up a consultation or you can say consultation actual is done by the nurse. Okay.
So there was an interruption in the LAN connection. So I hope I'm audible now, right?
Okay, is it fine now?
Can you please confirm? Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I didn't teach anything. I got to know there was a problem in the college LAN network connection. Okay. So in this use cases, it is a diagrammatic representation. It tells the interaction between the stakeholders and the system, how these interactions happen, and what are through how or what are the functionalities. See, medical receptionist, what he can do only register patient and viewing. So, ma'am, no, you want something more, then you can add it here. So you're telling the requirements here. Fine. So use cases is another way of um, recording or getting the requirements from the user. Okay, did you understand? Only thing is it is similar to scenarios, but it is a diagrammatic way. So we say, right, a picture conveys thousand words. So the same something which happened there, what and all a nurse can do, edit record, view record, that and all I can show it within a diagram, which is more understandable. Fine. Any doubts there? Shall I go ahead? I hope my screen is. You can view my screen, right? Okay, that's what. Okay, okay, fine, 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 fine. Mm, fine. Use case. Use cases. Did you get it? Actually, use case is very important, which you will learn later once you go to higher semesters also. But in the next module also, you have something known as design, wherein you learn more about use case. Can I continue? Okay, thank you. Next, you have ethnography. See, what is this ethnography? See, even though we come up with requirements and so many systems and everything, sometimes it happens that once the project or product has been developed, people don't use it. Even though it is giving all the requirements or it is satisfying all our requirements, there is some complications on the system which is not or the system is something sometimes unusable. No, ma'am, it will not happen like that. Don't tell me that most 50% of the softwares which are developed go to waste. Reason being is that the end users who are using it will not be comfortable with that, or they feel that there is something missing, which or they are more comfortable with doing manually than using the product what it is being developed. And it is the most case in most of the software products. Okay, one of the reason is it does not take into, even though it will do what is required, it will not take the system being developed, the requirements will not take into account social and organizational context or effects. um, Maybe I will tell you. Sometimes the e-governance what we have used, okay, what we use for marking the attendance, sometimes I feel it is very uncomfortable for me. Why? Maybe because the student list is not updated, or some student, yes, he is in A section, somehow we will shift off to B section. All of a sudden, that student name is here and it is not changed. Sometimes, what happens, you people will have gone to some things taking permission, but later I can't update that attendance. You will come later to me, and I would have mixed mark. So, even though it is working, requirements is 100% gathered and it is accurate, it is working as required, some things will happen like that. Okay, which makes me very difficult, or which makes me uncomfortable in using it, but still I use, yes, because it is mandatory, right? So why does these things happen, and how do I overcome so that I can get those requirements also properly? Now, that can be solved using this ethnography. In this ethnography, what happens is, we do is it takes into picture social and organizational factors. That is the surroundings of how the system is working. So, in order to do that, what we do is, a person will sit and work along with the people. Let's say, for example, while gathering the requirements for some company, the people who want to gather the requirements will go and work with the actual people day to day, like from morning 9 to 5. If I am working, yes, they will come along with that system, work there. They will see how the system works, in and out of it, what are the drawbacks or what are the advantages, what may be, how the system is working, actual system is working, and they'll get to know the requirements. So whenever we want to consider social and organizational factors into picture, then ethnography is one way of doing it. So this ethnographic studies have shown that work is usually richer and more complex than suggested by simple system model. Simply telling someone, yes, I want this and this, will not solve. Okay, so we need to do have this social and organizational pictures. So requirements are derived from the way people actually work rather than someone who ought to work. Okay, they are derived from the cooperation and awareness of the people's activities. Awareness of what others people are doing leads to changes in the way things we do. It is effective for understanding existing process but cannot identify new features. Yes, how it is working you can find, but if you want to know something new about the system, that you cannot get with ethnography. Fine. An example they developed in project studying the air traffic control combines ethnography with prototyping. Yes, one important way of doing this is, or one of the focused way we can say is, we can combine ethnography with prototyping. Prototyping is nothing but model. We can come up with a model of a system. Okay, so when we come up with a model of a system, it will answer all the unanswered questions, and you can develop a model of the system here. So how does ethnography and prototyping combine? Here we do ethnographic analysis, debriefing meetings, focused ethnography. We come up with a prototype evaluation. Then here actually after this ethnography we come up with the prototyping system prototype. Once that prototype is developed, we evaluate it, and then once we evaluate, we again go for meetings if we want something changes. Okay. Now then, generic system development is another part which is based on this prototype. So you develop the system based on the prototype here. Okay. So why this ethnography is required is, we get the requirements from the people who actually work rather than someone who is giving instructions. Okay, it's like the layman users who are doing the work, you will get the requirements from them. because we are actually, you will be the people who are getting the requirements, who will be working with them from day to night and get the requirements collected. Fine. So you will get the requirements from the people who are actually doing, rather than people from who are giving instructions. Here, for this to be success, you have to have cooperation and awareness of the other people's activities. It is like you will understand the in and out of the system. Okay. Any doubts here? Ethnography.
ಏನು ಸರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಹಾಡೆಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ. ಹಾ ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಸಿ. ಹಾ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಹೌದಾ, ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀವೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಏನು ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ನೋಡಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ರಂಗಿನ ಮಂಚ.
Can I proceed?
ಇವಾಗ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತೀನಪ್ಪ, ಅವಾಗಲೇ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತು. ಹೋಗಿ ಬಿಡಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಿವಿನ ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೇಳಿಸಲ್ಬೇಕು. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ?
Okay.
ಚಂದ್ರಶೇಖರ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ?
Then we have requirements engineering. There are different types of requirements. Actually, according to your syllabus, I did requirements engineering process. But the chapter wise, it is like this. But still, what is requirements engineering? Collect the what the system has to do and the constraints. I think this I have done. There are two types of requirements. First of all, one is user requirements and the other is system requirements. What is user requirements and what is system requirements? See, user requirements, it is nothing but natural language way of telling or diagrammatically telling what you want with the system. Okay. Now, in system requirements, it gives detailed instructions and of what it should do, what are the constraints, what are the services, everything is incorporated in system requirements. Ma'am, both of them same mean the same for me. Now I will tell you, one requirement is you have to generate monthly management reports for mental health care systems. So from the user requirements, it will be like one single line. It should generate monthly management reports showing the cost of the drugs prescribed by each clinic during that month. That is, you have to get a report from each clinic about how much is the cost of the drugs. Okay, this is user requirement. The same thing in system requirement, they expand it is services, constraints, what and all is there, that is explained in the requirement, is explained in system requirements. Like the last working day of the month, we say during or that month. When have we told? No, here we say last working day of the month, the summary of the drugs prescribed, their cost, and clinic should be generated. Then it should automatically generate the report for printing after what is the time on the last working day. A report should be created for each clinic, the list of how that report it should be. Okay, what are the parameters of that? All this or the constraints should be there. And here I also say constraints in the sense the cost, only restricted users can access that report. Now, the same thing I said it in one line, but here I have explained that. Yes. So this user requirements means it tells the functionality in single line, whereas in system requirements it will say the services, constraints, and everything is explained. Okay. Did you get what is user requirements? What is system requirements? Yes, Abhijit Kumar, what is that? You have typed. Abhijit. Okay, sir. If it is by mistake, it is fine. No, I thought you had some doubts. Apart from user and system requirements, there is other type of requirements known as functional and non-functional requirements. Functional requirements tell what the system should do. Okay, how the system should react, what it should do. If I give particular input, what should be the output, and all that is explained within functional requirements. Yes, ma'am, that is all the system requirements should say. No, but there is other kind of requirements which you don't tell, but it is required, like constraints on the system, the timing, okay, process, standards. Those kinds of requirements are known as non-functional requirements. You also have something known as domain, that is constraints on the system from the domain or operation. Let's say, for example, I have a website. I ask you to develop with a website for a college website. I will say what are the functional requirements for that website. Now, it should store all the student information, it should store all the functional faculty information, and all the IA marks, all the materials. The student, I should be able to add a new student. If student is detained or removes, goes out of the college, I should be removed. All these are functional requirements. Can someone say then what is non-functional requirements? Hmm? Non-functional requirements, I can say that the college website. If I try to open the website should open within so and so time. It should be, it should open the page within the so and so time. Any other non-functional requirement can you say? Yeah. Any other non-functional requirement can you tell? Come on, if all of you are sleeping. One example I said, the page should be available within so and so time. Yeah, anything else? No? But you're all very tired. I thought I am tired by giving examples. I thought I will ask you people. But you people are not responding. Come on, fast. Anyone give me non-functional requirement, I will end the session. Or I will go on continuing. Yes, availability of the server. I should say my website should be running 24 bar 7. Right? Yes. That also be non-functional, unauthorized person. Yes. Yeah, that can also be Kavya. I can, some people can argue it is functional requirement also, ma'am. Yeah, I will take it. You can either say unauthorized or that can be both functional, non-functional. Okay. Agreed. Okay. So as soon as I said I will wind up the class, you people came up with examples. Okay, then I will also end, guys. 2 hours is very difficult to teach. I hope today you understood what I thought. Any doubt?
ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆಫ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಏನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಯ್ತು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆಫ್ಲೈನ್ ಬಂದಾಗ
Okay, fine.